Hello, hello, what's going on, crypto world? Hope y'all are having a beautiful Thursday. So far, it is dumping rain over here in Texas. I'm guessing some of that hurricane-ness has found its way here. That's okay, though. It's making my grass look a lot better, so that's cool. Can't hate on that. If you didn't know, this is No Noise Research, and I am Z-Rex, your host, coming at you live on September 20th, 2018. So I'm sure y'all are liking some of this price action. I guess the SEC talked about, I don't know, they talked about how they're going to talk about the proposal again. Just so silly, guys. It's just pretty funny. I guess one thing that was cool, though, is that they're open to like reading all the comments and feedback from other people. So I'm not sure what really matters about that. Everyone seems to think it does, but I think it's becoming kind of a non-event. You only can cry wolf so many times, right? That's kind of how I feel about that, generally speaking. But enough how I feel. Who really cares about that? Let's talk about some markets. So as you can see here, we did finally get some nice fresh money coming in to the tune of about $8 to $10 billion in the latter part of today. You know, it's been hovering around the 200 billion area. We finally are kind of getting above that, so that is a decent sign that some people want to play. Not enough for me to get super excited, though. I want to see it get back around 250 and chill there for a little bit, as we got a nice fail here earlier in September, right around 240. So it could not push through there, but this is looking all right. Altcoins are definitely participating in this rally. We can go over here to Bittrex. Well, maybe we can possibly look at some volume action. So we got about 6,600 BTC volume. That's not super high. It's a little higher than normal. Most of that's the lovely XRP, which we discussed a little bit in last night's stream. Let's just go ahead and jump over to it real quick because it has been one of the big movers today. Oh gosh darn it, you got me with the Bittrex. All right, yeah, we talked about this setting up real nice as a flag yesterday, and just waiting for price to break out of this flag, especially obviously to the upside. And I was just targeting around this level here, and if you chop out to the daily, oh sorry, not the daily, here we were kind of just targeting, you know, a measured move of this, which would have been like right about this candle. It has blown through that. It's getting really hyped up here. One thing to be wary of is that it's getting rejected at the longest term moving average, which is this red line right here. It's already getting slapped on that and coming below the next one. So good movement. I guess X Rapid or something was coming out. People got excited. Whatever. You know, news is kind of whatever's. This pattern already was saying that it was charging up, as we talked about it again yesterday. Banging up on this trend line and consolidating it. It was a really nice setup for getting long as soon as it broke out of here, and it did it with conviction, and still lots of more room to the upside. I took off my Ripple position today, so that's what I'm doing. With that, let's see here. So nothing really more to talk about with Ripple. I guess what I could mention here is a Fibonacci extension from this move roughly here. This little sell-off is about the 2618, so that there should be hardcore resistance there, especially since it's also lining up with the 377 moving average. So that's enough for me to take some of them gains off the table. You don't ever have gains unless you manage your winners. Don't forget that. Alright, let's jump over to BTC real fast, and then we're going to go back over here to finish wrapping up the general markets. Obviously, dominance on Bitcoin is down a little bit. It's only a couple percent. It's still staying strongly above 50, I would imagine, because some of these altcoins, if we remove some of these garbage ones, some of these altcoins, Stellar, Cardano, EOS, Tezos, they're still continuing to move a lot. Ripple has been on fire. It's up about 60% in the last week. Tezos looks to be like the one behind it. Yep, Cardano and Stellar. Stellar, let's go look at Stellar, because Stellar could have some moves here coming up. A lot of times it rallies after whatchamacallit, ripples, the rips. Now you can see it is kind of catching up here just in the last couple hours, actually. Yeah, so you got that popping off. It's looking pretty good. It is getting resistance here, though, around this 24 level. We do have serious volume. We're bullish on the 4-hour. We're about to get bullish on the daily. That could happen here. We do have a daily close in about 8 minutes. So we'll see what happens there. 4 hours bullish. Hourly is very bullish. And the 850 will definitely, most likely, like 90% chance will be bullish after it closes here in about 4 hours. So it's looking pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, let's do a little extension on this guy. At least a, oh, look at that, we're almost up to the 1618 extension, which is about 26 cents. That's pretty likely that we'll tap that. And if this altcoin market is actually getting a little bit stable and BTC is about to pump, which I don't know, we'll go and see what the internals are saying here in a second, but I could imagine this easily hitting that and maybe even up to the 2618, about 30 cents. All right, let's go back over to the coin checkup, kind of just check the markets out. Ethereum hanging out around 225, so that's looking nice. EOS is really good here. I think it actually is going to pop a little harder than some of these other coins. I'm also watching Ethereum Classic very closely right now as well. Here you go. Here we are coming into this resistance. We've been chatting about EOS for a while now, about how the high upper $4 range has been massive support. It played out once again. I kind of feel dumb for not taking this trade, as we were kind of watching it play out this whole time on the videos. We even had some bullish signs in the last couple of days on DMI in combination with these moving averages all stacking up on here. So EOS is looking pretty decent, but a lot of them are hitting like hardcore resistance, so Bitcoin's going to need to really step its game up to really get some more wind behind these alt sales, right? Speaking of BTC, let's go talk about it. Here we go, hanging around the 6,500 level. We did not close above the, let's see, let me zoom in on the hourly. We did not close above where I was talking about yesterday, trying to get above that 6,500 on the daily. This next daily looks like it's trying to do it, but it is still finding pretty hard resistance at this 21 exponential, so that is definitely something to keep an eye on. If you go out to the 1 hour, it does look pretty bullish on the 1 hour, and on the 4 hour it's about to get bullish, possibly. Yeah, it'll be pretty bullish on this close here in about 4 minutes. So the 4 hour will turn bullish, the 1 hour is bullish. The 850 probably is not yet. No, it needs to do a lot of work still on the 850. So do be wary that this is finding lots of resistance on the 21 exponential, which is about 6,600 roughly, as it's winding down with price here too. But we do have this little spinny top thing. This is a weird kind of formation. We talked about it a lot yesterday. I do timestamp on my videos, so please go check those out. If you want to go into, you know, get some more details and stuff on my thoughts there. But there we go, get some big screen action. Yeah, it's just kind of it's a little weird of action to have kind of right here at this spot. Volume was a little above average, but We really need to see this close above 66, or we're just going to keep chopping down. Here's the ETFs. We're going to get a lot of announcements all in this rest of this area to this vertical line. And there's no date, you know, the ones that they pushed back from, what was it, a month or so ago, early, man, I can't even remember, they all blend together. They just keep like playing around, pushing them back, and there's no really good way to judge it. That's what I've talked about a lot in these videos, is you can't really even think about those. Just look at the chart. The chart's going to tell you what you need to know. The price action will tell you what you need to know. You don't need to read the news. News is a laggard. It's applied to price. And usually it's applied to price when you have bags. You're like, why is this not going the way I want it to? And you're like, oh, it's because... And it's a way to shift responsibility and, you know, blame and kind of liability onto someone else so you don't have to feel guilty. And I think that's the psychology kind of behind it. But yeah, that doesn't work. You know, you should be in the game to trade and make money. You don't trade to be emotional. Like all these people, you know, I've talked about this a couple times. All these people that hate Ripple or hate Bitcoin Cash or hate something and whatever it is, Ethereum, whatever you want to call it. You know, you're just going to miss opportunities. You should just be kind of neutral on stuff that you trade. It's okay to like things and like them a lot, but don't have that be your base of your investment decision. One thing that is a little nice on the hourly is it's bullish on the DMI, and we did just cross above the longest term moving average, this red one up here. And so I would say support, we're going to have like pretty damn good support at like 64.50. All right, so that's something to keep an eye out on the BTC for. It's pretty much like it's been since this happened. We did a video on this sell-off, and I was talking about how it's going to go sideways for at least the rest of the week, and now it has ended up being about, you know, 10 days, coming up on 2 weeks really. And yeah, just kind of being boring and burning everybody out. You know, the chop is almost more annoying than any other kind of movement, and that's where you start getting impatient and making bad decisions. It's okay, it happens a lot. I've done it way too many times, I'll tell you that. Alright, let's chop down to the hour again, and as you can see, RSI is about to get into the strength zone, but it's had a hard time staying above it for very long in pretty much all of September. So we had a little attempt here in this pump, couldn't get over this 200-day moving average. That's not, I'm sorry, it's not 200, it's a 377 exponential. And now we finally are. So there's a couple little signs of like some possible strength building up in the market, but it's really hard to tell at this moment. We need a little bit more confirmation. We should get that here in the next day or so. Here you go. Also, when Asia starts getting up here in Europe in the next handful of hours. Here's a little action on Ethereum. We did a little trade setup on this. The risk to reward was just really good. I mean, especially when you're on top of this trend line again and it's acting as support. Then you have maybe like a little spring action here, trying to dump as much as they can. It gets bought up hardcore. So this ended up kind of working out so far pretty well. And our target on this is to the middle of this channel. And you know, that could kind of be adjusted depending on how time goes, right? It could be anywhere along this. So that's why when we put the trade on, I just go up to that part of the channel and then, you know, kind of just keep an eye on it as it ratchets down. You could also use some extensions to give you a little bit of measured move. So 168 will be like 240. So that would probably be good, which is right here is where I'm reading that. That would probably be a good place to maybe manage the trade a little bit. Maybe take like 20 to 50% off, depending on how you do it. Scaling out of trades and in trades has really helped me over the long term. Remove some of the bad emotions that you get from trading. So keep that in mind. We've talked about this divergence that's been all over here on Ethereum. This volume that has been very serious. It is waning a little bit, and I think we just had the daily just closed, so we're on a fresh daily candle. But again, guys, don't get too excited as we are still meeting resistance on this 21 daily exponential. We really need to close above that on a daily, on a higher time frame, to get some good confirmation. We have all the other signs though. We just need like one more. We've got the divergence, we got multiple divergences, we got the volume on this sell-off, we've got a hammer candle with the following engulfing candle with more volume. Like, we have a lot of positive things, but price is king. And on one of the most basic things of the 21 exponential, which is really good on a daily time frame, we need to close above that. And on the 4 hour, we did just get bullish on the 4 hour with that candle close. And on the hour, it has been bullish since in this area here, right before it launched. Like earlier, looks like this morning, it got bullish on Ethereum. On the hourly, it did. Let's check it out on the 850. 850 is pretty neutral, and the daily is also pretty damn neutral. Also, RSI is below 50, so keep that in mind. That's kind of showing you with the price, like we're almost there. Let me get some RSI above 50 and price above 21, which should happen like the same time. Then I will get a lot more bullish than I am right now. I'm very cautiously bullish at the moment. Litecoin. Let's go to the Mr. Lee, see what he's talking about. All right, Mr. Lee, kind of looking the same, neutral on the daily. 4 hour just got bullish too on that close. Hourly looks good, and also notice on the hourly we are above 70, so RSI is showing relative strength at the moment, so that is a good sign. That means it's probably very highly probable that we will be testing the middle part of this channel, which is about 62 bucks or so, give or take $1, kind of depending on which day it happens, right? About $62, which is the middle of the channel, and also the 55 exponential. So you know what, that's actually a pretty damn good trade setup. I'm gonna go ahead and mark that one up right here, because you can pretty much use these as your stop and target this middle part of the channel. So that's a pretty safe and good setup right there. All right, let's go to EOS. Oh, actually hourly. I don't think we looked at hourly on the Litecoin. Looking nice and bullish. Oh yeah, we did. Sorry, get ahead of myself. I got a float pod appointment here in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes that I need to make. So we're going to be kind of blowing through some of this stuff. EOS dollar. EOS is looking good. I didn't want to actually go to EOS. Wow, that was special. XMR, we already talked about EOS. I wanted to go to Monero. There we go. So Monero, we've been kind of keeping an eye on. We talked about it. Here, all these averages just stacking up on each other. And it's happening on multiple time frames too. On the 4 and the on the 1 hour. And here you go, we're finally getting some closes above 21 and 55 moving averages, which are stacked right on top of each other. We're still neutral on the oscillators though. On the 4 hour, it's still neutral, but we are attempting, this new 4 hour candle is attempting to confirm closing above the 377 exponential, which would be a very good sign. On the hourly, it does look very strong. DMI, everything, and we're about to pretty much be right over 70 on the RSI, so this looks really good, y'all. If Bitcoin can break 6,600 on a daily at some point soon, we should see a lot of these altcoins fulfill these patterns and some of these measured moves that we've been talking about. Like this one, you could pretty much look for about a buck 30 to about a buck 50. Those would be my first close targets on Monero. Let's go to Dash. Good old Dash coin. Oh, Dash is having a nice day. Here's another setup that we did on Dash. We've been talking about this one for a little while, about this trend line cross back over here. And we said it was probably just going to kind of go sideways into this and hopefully stay above it, right? If it breaks down on this trend line or even broke below this like 180-ish level, then that would get back to bearish. So it kind of has been playing out. We're going right on it. You can see price just dancing across this X. And if we zoom in a little bit, when we set this up, I believe we set this up yesterday. Now we are getting resistance too, like most things are around this long-term moving average. That's why I'm not getting overly bullish right now. I'm just very cautiously bullish. And so we are kind of breaking out here though. Let's see what the next 4 hours do. That's going to be pretty telling. So this trade seems to be working out all right. And on a side note, like let's say you have this trade in, what you can do as well is you can change your risk parameters to where you put your stop up here like this, right? So now you don't even have red anymore. So you don't have any risk in the trade. So that's something you can add to your trading toolbox. Because when you start doing that, then you just have to play the game a lot, and you'll be right, and you'll be wrong sometimes. But if you manage them not too aggressively, but take kind of the risk out of the trade, because right now when you opened it here, you were willing to risk, you were willing to risk this 7% or so to try to make. I mean, you had about a 5.5 to 1 is the setup on this, and so. If you can take that 7% drawdown out, maybe you can even like ratchet it up to only like 1%, right? This is all up to you, but I like to do it a lot where, especially when you have a move that's about equal to your risk already on 1-to-1, just go ahead and ratchet that up and stop out at this point. Like pretty much, I'll just leave a little bit of red there just kind of to make the point that that's the stop zone. But now, yeah, now your risk is pretty much 0. And you're in the trade. See what happens. It's almost like a free trade. I don't know if that kind of makes sense or not, but all right, let's see. Internals on Dash, weirdly weak on the daily. About to get bullish on the 4 hour, bullish on the 1 hour. See if the 850 has something that's a little cooler looking. Nope, I guess it doesn't because it's not loading for me. Damn you! I'm not sure what's going on with that one, guys. Let me just try to re-click back over there. I guess Dash and the 850 is not friendly. All right, well, I guess we're not going to look at that. So, sorry about that, guys. Oh, well. Let's go look at Binance token, because we've kind of been talking about that every once in a while. It does have this really ugly rounding formation, which we've discussed. Those are usually really bearish, but it also is printing this good support at this 377 exponential. It is a slightly bearish on the daily. Looks okay. It's a little slightly bullish on the 4 hour and bullish on the 1 hour. So pretty mixed, pretty neutral. Again, on the daily, a lot of things are struggling at that 21 and 55. So the trend is still downward right now overall. All right, let's go to equities, and I'm gonna need to wrap up. We've been playing this for a little while, guys. Let's see. I was getting long delta on sell-offs. We discussed that about how strong that the market looks, etc., etc. This trade has been working out very well across the board. We also talked about the Dow Jones, that it was going to want to make new highs, and it did. Here it is. That came a little faster than I thought it would. Now we have all-time highs, I believe, on all the markets. So, you know, get ready for a little bit of FOMO, because we're just, you know, everything is amazing. And I've been discussing that about the election. They usually like to have the euphoria as high as it can be going into it. And even if you look at the NASDAQ, okay, so the NASDAQ's not quite at the all-time highs, but now the Dow's up there, so the NASDAQ can pump 100, 200 points like it's nothing. Does it all the time. If you look on the internals here, it's bullish on the 4 hour. As y'all know, on the longer time, it's neutral on the daily though. Very bullish on the 1 hour. And on the higher time frames, like weekly, monthly, it's pretty damn bullish still. So I believe we still got some legs left in this market. Let's go to the Russell. Russell's also up too. It only needs to get about 20 points. Although we looked at it in futures. Let me pull that up. Oh my gosh, that's actually something. The TRY I just accidentally found Turkish lira futures. Interesting, never traded those. I was trying to do RTY, which is the Russell's futures. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're just a little bit away from all-time highs too. I'm still fully expecting that to play out. Let's go to oil. So oil's kind of being a little fidgety here. It still looks pretty bullish on the daily. It's giving us bullish on the oscillators. The 4 hour it is, but on the 1 hour it just has switched to bearish. So it might be rolling over a little bit. I wouldn't imagine it would have much more power to get below this deeper trend line here at about 67 bucks. So it kind of does look like a bullish trend here, and until the chart tells me otherwise, that's what I'm gonna stick to. All right, how about some gold? Gold is kind of just flat, a little boring. Finding resistance here at the 55, it looks like. Neutral on the daily. Kind of neutral on the hourly. Actually, it's just super neutral here. The internals aren't telling us shit. Sometimes that does happen. I talk about that a lot. Or sometimes you just have to look at price, because the oscillators will lie to you. And especially when you get in this chop, they don't really do anything. The only thing I've discussed is like the hourly. You can get a little bit of insight with the DMI. All right, let's go to what did I want to look at? I guess let's just wrap it up, man, because I gotta get out of here. Bitcoin, I'd like to keep it longer. Y'all know I usually do, but maybe I'll do another one when I get home later tonight. So Bitcoin is getting a little bit of legs here. Again, we are bullish on the hour and the 4 hour, and it is consolidating over the 377 exponential on the hourly time frame. That has not happened since we fell out of the bed here after attempting to break this trend line once more. So this is actually a little bit bullish. Again, pay attention to Mama Bear. If Mama Bear rallies and can close this daily over 66, even if we can just get a 4 hour over 66 at this point, I would be pretty stoked about that for the bulls. But right now, it's not quite there. So don't rush it. Don't jump the gun. Don't FOMO. And I'm specifically speaking of Ripple. So be careful there. I know a lot of people are going to try to FOMO this. I'm sure. I don't know why this box is here. A lot of people are going to try to FOMO this. Gosh, I need to be able to remove certain exchanges. Please do that, TradingView. We have a lot of resistance here. Now, if it consolidates up in this area for the next, like for the weekend into next week, that would still be kind of bullish. But right now, like I said earlier in the stream, I don't have a position in Ripple anymore. Hell, moving it to XLM is probably what my plan's going to be. Alright guys, so that's about it. That's all I know. Which is not very much anyway, right? And just keep an eye out. Wow, I pulled up a really nasty chart to finish with. Sorry about that. It's ugly. Here's the clean one. So just keep an eye out on that price action. Whoops. On that price action. And let me lock this. Yeah, keep an eye out on that price action here. If we can get over it, it looks like it wants to do it today. It really does. So keep real close monitoring on it. Put an alert maybe so you don't have to look at your chart every day. I know it's fun to do, but sometimes it's not healthy to do. All right, guys. No noise. Research. It is. I am Z-Rex. If you liked anything on the content or have any questions, reach out to me. You can reach me on Telegram. We're at No Noise Research in there, in the group, or at No Noise if you want to directly message me. And if you enjoyed or found any value, please subscribe. Sub, bell, smash, you know, it's easy. That's all you got to do. All right, much love, happy trading, and I'll talk to y'all guys tomorrow.